What's up, guys? Josh here from Momentum Productions. Happy New Year, first of all. Thank you so much for being loyal subscribers and supporting the channel. We are going to be hitting 10,000 subscribers within a week or two, so I am very, very excited for 2017, and I'm sure you are all too. It's going to be an amazing, amazing year. A lot of goals, a lot of achievements set, so I hope you have set some of these goals yourself. Before we get into today's topic, I just want to make sure that you guys have a set plan, set achievements for 2017. I have a whole whiteboard listed that reminds me every single morning of what I need to be doing. So that's a really good tip, especially for beginning filmmakers. If you are struggling, always have a set list of goals, because you wake up, you take a look at these set of goals, and then it programs into your mind. All right, so thank you so much again. 2017, here we come. All right, full force. Okay, so today let's go ahead and talk about 3-axis gimbal stabilization. If you've looked at my channel earlier, we've been talking about glide cams, manual stabilization, right? We haven't really gotten to talking about Ronin technology, DJI Ronins, Cane TV Argos, all those kinds of electronic gimbals. So I actually, give me 1 second, I'm gonna go grab my manual stabilizer. I forgot to bring it. Give me 1 second. So a manual stabilizer looks something like this, right? So basically it's like a glide cam. You have a gimbal here, bearings, pan, tilt, and roll, that type of stuff. It works off of gravity, works strictly off of physics, right? There's no battery here, nothing controls anything. This is something I've been using for years. About, 3 years already I've been using it, and it's really transformed my footage from amateur looking handheld footage to professional cinema quality footage. Simply by making the camera more stable, you are increasing a ton of production value. Now, this thing, you can find a good stabilizer for $200-300 bucks. It doesn't necessarily have to be a glide cam. Glide cam is so expensive because they're made and designed in America. But you can find really good Chinese manual stabilizers online as well. So this is what I started off with, right? I actually started with an Optica SteadyVid Pro, which was absolute garbage. I don't recommend Optica, unfortunately. Not good quality at all. But anyway, so this is a stabilizer I actually built myself using different parts from different stabilizers. So I used parts from the Wieldy Iron Triangle stabilizer, I've used the gimbal from the Lang stabilizer, and I've used the head assembly from the Lang stabilizer as well. Okay, so that's what I started off with. I just took the best pieces of my stabilizers and put them together into one. So now we want to talk about electronic stabilization. All right, we have the Cane Argo. Let me go ahead and flip the camera here so you can see what I'm talking about. Here's the Cane Argo. All right, there she is. Now I'm going to power her on. Notice how I refer to it as her. I guess I do that to many inanimate objects, but anyway, here's the battery. What I really like about this battery, let's say when we compare it to the DJI Ronin products, this battery is not proprietary. I can open this up, and we have 4 lithium-ion batteries, Samsung batteries, that you can easily purchase at Best Buy or Fry's. You don't have to buy directly through Cane TV. DJI is all proprietary. You can only buy batteries from them. So I think that's a really good plus. A pack of 4 batteries, the Samsung batteries, is $24-25 bucks. Compared to DJI batteries, which I think are around $150. So that's a huge, huge plus in my opinion. I really like that. I really, really like that. So let's go ahead and plug in the battery. Also, if you have one of these electronic stabilization systems, I just released this morning a how to balance an electronic stabilizer video. So if you're struggling to balance your stabilizer, check out my video that I released earlier today, and it will show you exactly how you need to be balancing it, okay? All right, let's go ahead and plug this battery in, and let's see how she behaves. I did have to do a lot of calibrating and a lot of programming in software, not third party. It's actually software that works specifically for the boards that are built into the stabilizer. So as you can see, Kame has really stepped it up when it comes to build quality. You no longer have to plug in any batteries. You simply slide this battery right in. Let me turn the phone a little bit. All you gotta do is just pop it in like this. Boom. Tighten up the knobs here. It's actually identical to the Ronin, besides the battery, but like literally how you put in the battery and how you tighten up the battery, it's identical to the Ronin. Some differences compared to the Ronin. I've mentioned this in other videos, but since some of you who are watching this haven't seen that video, we're going to cover those differences again. So let's tilt down. Okay. We can actually notice, let's first talk about the build quality on the Kame TV Argo. This is magnesium. So this is the same material that they do use on the Ronin. This is one solid piece. All right, one solid piece. That is very difficult to manufacture, by the way. Very difficult to manufacture one solid piece. It's usually a lot easier to manufacture in multiple pieces and then end up putting them together later in manufacturing. But they put all of this stuff into one, they made one solid piece. So that's actually very expensive to do. So that's one thing that I really like that Kame TV did. They really stepped up their game. They want to compete with DJI, and guess what? They are. Because when it comes down to features and all that good stuff, in my opinion, I think that this stabilizer beats the Ronin. The only problem I had when I first got the stabilizer was that it needed calibration and software. And that software is not user-friendly. I have to say, you have to do a lot of research on that software before messing with it. Otherwise, your gimbal will give you what I like to call the spin of death. And that basically makes the camera act as like a propeller on a drone, and the motors just start spinning out of control. It literally looks like the gimbal will take off from its stand and fly away. So you can mess up the settings significantly in software if you don't know what you're doing. So when I first got this thing, I didn't know that there was software that you could mess with to change the settings. I didn't. And then when I found out that there was, I messed with the settings, and I got that spin of death. So after hours and hours of messing with the software, I was able to get the gimbal under control back to its default settings. And on top of that, I was able to add some of my own settings and my own profiles to make the gimbal behave even better than when the factory sent it out to me. So now it behaves exceptionally well. Now, if you take a look at my gimbal here, you can notice how well it is balanced. I can put my camera in any position and it's going to stay there. It's not going to flop over to one side without me touching it. So I can flop it over there, it's going to stay there. I'm going to flop it over to the left, it's going to stay there. Put it down to the back here. It's going to, whoa, guess it's not balanced. Hang on. Oh, no, it's not balanced. Look at that. Wow. I did just change lenses, so that probably had something to do with it. So let's make sure that, yeah, okay, so let's do a little balancing here. So I can show you actually, let me adjust these thumb screws here a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Again, if you're just tuning in, I released a balancing video earlier today on how to balance these things. So if you don't know how, check it out. But it looks like I need to be pushing this thing a tiny bit to the right. I adjusted that. You didn't even see how far because it was so tiny. Again, like the better you balance these things, the better they will behave and the less pressure you are going to put on the motors. You want the motors to make your movements look like butter. Now, you're not going to get this buttery looking footage if you're going to make the motors focus on compensating for your off-balance camera. You want the motors simply to create that movement. You don't want them to work on balancing your camera. You want them just to make your movements smooth. Now, as you can see, now it's perfectly balanced. I moved the camera a little bit over to the right, and it's staying in position now. So you want to perfectly balance this thing. Let's check yaw. So I'm going to turn the gimbal around here. And we're going to see if the yaw spins. I'm going to lean it forward. Spins a little bit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tilt the camera up. Ooh, the lighting is not great here. But we're going to release this notch. And I'm going to turn this adjustment knob here just a little bit and see how that helps out with my yaw. Okay, still spinning. I'm trying to figure out if I need to push it back or push it forward. Looks like I need to push it back. So we'll do just that. Again, the better balanced you have this thing, the better shots you're gonna get. Oh, it's too much. It's all trial and error, guys. Almost there. Almost there. Just a few more turns on the knob here. Still some more. Wow. Okay. Okay, yaw looks good now. All right, now I can fasten this up. Good, and we're ready to rock. Woo! Oh, I need to stretch out my neck. Leaning forward too much. All right, so let me move some things here. I'm gonna push the camera off to the side a little bit so you can see how this thing boots up. Okay, so push this back here, move over. Okay, cool. So to turn this thing on, it's almost exactly like the Ronin and most of DJI's products. All you gotta do is tap the battery button once, then tap it again until all 4 LEDs light up. Then you're gonna hear a chime. It's gonna take a few seconds to calibrate and center the horizon. Then you can take this little joystick that's mounted on the handlebar here. I'm gonna show you in a sec. It's right here. I'm gonna turn on the joystick by holding on this button. And then a light's gonna come on the remote. And as soon as you turn on the remote, sometimes you'll hear a chime. I think it just means that it switched modes, but this remote will actually, see it's shining green, which means it's connected, and I will be able to move the camera around. See, another thing that Kane did that I didn't really like is that the remote controller came in inverted mode. So left would make the system pan right, and right would make the system pan left. So I had to go into the software and actually uninvert that setting, so that way left is left and right is right. And they don't tell you how to do that in the manual. The manual does not tell you how to set the proper settings in the software. And if you're wondering what software I'm talking about, it's free software called Simple BCG, and this is open source software which allows you to customize any gimbal the way you want it to. And As you can see, this thing is behaving so well, so smooth. I added an extra profile on there. So if you don't know what a profile is, it's basically different modes that you can have with the gimbal. Currently, stock, this gimbal comes with 3 different modes. The follow mode, where pan and tilt follow your movements. Next is the tilt lock, which only has the gimbal follow your pan but not your tilt. And then the third one is full lock, where both the pan and tilt are locked and you will not be able to pan or tilt the camera. And then my 4th mode is just basically a faster version of the follow mode. I increased the speed of the tilt and the pan, so that way I don't have to worry about hooking it up back to the computer and manually resetting the values so that it spins and turns faster. I can simply just click this button 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's going to go into my fast mode. So it's going to be panning and tilting a lot faster. But of course it won't work with the remote control. I set it so it only does that when I'm holding the gimbal. So that's basically what I did. I added my own profile. I also added a 5th, not a profile, but I added a 5th option. If I click the button 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's going to level the stabilizer for me. So right now you didn't see any movement because it's already leveled. But let's say also another thing that I really love about the stabilizer is that you can actually manually hold down the roll bar and it will stay that way. Just in case if it might be a little off horizon, you can tap the roll bar a little bit and it will stay that way. Just like the DJI Osmo, it did the same thing. So now you see that it's really not centered, it's not leveled. By tapping this 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually 5 times, it's gonna automatically level up. And that is something that does not come in the factory default settings. That is something you have to do in the software. So I love how the software allows you to do that. It has a lot of different profiles, default profiles that can help you calibrate the accelerometer, the gyroscope, there's also another sensor, magnometer or something like that. And it's just awesome. So maybe I'll do a tutorial video on how I messed with these settings. Obviously, these settings can really screw up your gimbal to the point where you have to send it back to the manufacturer. But I think I will show you what I did to make everything work. So it's fantastic. So everything the way I have it now is perfect. Really, really, really cool. And the reason why I can touch the roll bar without having it spaz out and do weird things is because this gimbal is equipped with three encoders, 1 encoder for each motor. So what does this encoder do? It actually computes movement. Other than when we compared to older gimbals where they didn't have encoders, it was just simple IMUs that detected level ground or not level ground, and motors. That's it. The encoders actually assist the IMU to get a more proper reading, and that just makes your shots a lot more accurate, a lot smoother, and it actually limits the power on the motors. That way the motors don't overwork when they don't need to be overworked. So that actually increases your battery life. And gimbals have gone from 40-minute battery lives to 15-hour battery lives. This battery gives me 15 hours. And the Ronin, guess what? Doesn't do that. The Ronin gets you 4 hours. The DJI Ronin M gets you maybe 6 to 8 hours. This thing does double that. All right? So that's a huge, huge advantage. If we flip up the camera here, we will notice that there is a wireless video transmitter. Okay, wireless video transmitter. It comes with an antenna that you can just screw on there. I don't have it on there right now because I don't need it. That is awesome. I think that's really, really cool. And that just allows me to attach a monitor if I have one. If I ever work with a crew or something and they have a wireless monitor, I can just put up a monitor on the handlebar, and the handlebar comes with an accessory mount as well, something that the Ronin also doesn't have, the Ronin M. And I can attach a monitor, and it's fantastic. This thing also comes with they also give you a free mini HDMI cable that will plug right into this box, and you will be able to stream your footage at 480p to a wireless monitor. You also have these fine-tune adjustment knobs that the Ronin M doesn't have as well. These fine-tune adjustment knobs really get you accurate balancing. When you release these red levers here on the side, on the Ronin M, the camera will just drop. However, with these tuning knobs, if I release these levers, the camera will not drop. I can just move the camera up and down in small increments. So that's actually a really, really big positive feature there. All right, and also they also built in a follow focus area here, and it also comes with a rod where you can install this and have follow focus. That's also another huge plus for me whenever I need to get a follow focus on there, which I will need whenever I work in a crew. I can just install a wireless follow focus there. Also, we have a P-tap connector here. I ordered a P-tap to USB connector off of Amazon, which I can plug in here, and then I'll be able to power my A7S or A7R2 or any other camera for that matter that allows for USB charging. That way I don't have to change out the batteries. I can just run it off the Gimbals battery instead. And as you know, A7S alpha cameras from Sony don't require a lot of power, so I doubt that it's going to significantly drain my gimbal battery. Maybe brings it down to maybe 2 or 3 hours less battery time, but that's about it. Also, the D-tap converter that I bought has not only USB output, but it also has another D-tap output. So I can power my camera and power a follow focus at the same time. So it actually splits the power from the D-tap, and that's awesome. I really like that feature. So let me go ahead and turn off the gimbal. As you can see, it is extremely quiet. Let's do a 360-degree spin, and let's see if you guys can hear any motor. I didn't hear anything, did you? If you compare this to the Ronin M, you'll notice that these motors are actually a lot quieter. The Ronin M, I can hear the motors. So that's another thing. Because sometimes you do want to be recording audio on this gimbal. I already have a plan to put a ball head on this hot shoe mount here and have a Rode mic sticking out and sometimes recording audio off of that. So with the Ronin M, I'm a little sketched out with that because I hear motor noise. All right, so we can turn off the gimbal here. All right, and I can turn off my RC by holding down this power button. There we go. Just mount it up back up here. So basically you have a USB input here that you can connect to your computer to. You have another input here which I am not sure what it's for. It looks like a 6-pin connector, possibly for a remote controller, but I'm not sure how to hook up a remote controller to this system. I really would like to have the option to hook up a remote controller so that way I can mess with the roll as well. You can make some really cool cinematic moves by doing 360-degree rolls. You see a lot of that in movies in order to distort images and to actually confuse the audience a little bit in a good way. Like in horror movies, they always do these abstract shots where the roll is spinning, where the camera is actually spinning on its roll axis 360 degrees. It really makes that nice cinematic effect. So with an RC controller, I will be able to do that. However, I am not sure how to hook up a remote controller to this gimbal. I know for a fact you can, there's no information on how you can do that. When it comes down to weight, it's honestly not that bad. I can hold this thing up longer than I can a traditional Steadicam. So I'm happy about that. I can have 2 hands on those handles. Let me tilt up here. I have 2 handles here, and I have a 3rd handle up here. So that really gives me some room to position and hold the gimbal the way I want, and it makes me a lot less fatigued. So I'm really happy that they included that in the system. There are also detachable handles, just like the Ronin M, carbon fiber handles, just like the Ronin M, magnesium alloy body, just like the Ronin M. And guess what? Something that this thing also has that the Ronin M doesn't is that you can shoot in full inverted mode with the camera upright. Yeah, that's right. The camera can be upright. That way you can shoot an upright position and not having to worry about flipping it in post. Sometimes that can disorient us in framing when we shoot upside down, but with this stabilizer, you can shoot upright, no problem, in inverted mode. And you don't have to turn off the gimbal when you switch to inverted mode. Also, when you compare the bottom of the stabilizer here, oops, I can't. When you compare the bottom of the stabilizer, let me actually move the camera here. We have this cable here. If you compare this cable to the one that is in the Ronin M has a really long cable with a ton of slack. That makes me really worried because that can tug on to anything and just rip out that wire. This wire, however, is a lot shorter, a lot tighter, and it just doesn't seem like it gets in the way of a lot of things. However, in the future, I would love to see a gimbal that doesn't have any exposed wires. I'm trying to understand why these wires are exposed. Why aren't they using the appropriate slip rings when they're needed? I know for a fact that this already has a slip ring, but why does there have to be an exposed cable? Why couldn't they run the cable in through this mount and go right into the motor? Why does it have to go onto the outside? I'm still trying to figure that out when it comes to an engineering standpoint. Maybe they know something that I don't know, and maybe it has to be exposed. I'm not sure, but DJI has the same issue with these exposed wires. So hopefully, some way they can find a way to enclose these wires so we don't have to see them. But maybe they have to be exposed. I am not sure. But you can see here that the rest of the gimbal doesn't really have exposed wiring. The only other exposed wiring I see is for the D-tap. You can see it here on the left arm here. That wire goes to the D-tap. That wire, it looks good. It looks concealed enough. They put it in black casing. So I don't mind that being there. I just don't like that cable in the back here. I don't like that cable. When I pack it up, I'm scared that it might tear and all that stuff. I just don't like that cable. However, if it does end up ripping, I will have to find a way to reconnect it with another cable using soldering, and it's just, it looks like a whole mess. I've talked to a few other people that have had this kind of stabilizer for over a year without any problems. So these wires are protected with casing, so hopefully this casing will last a long time. Crossing my fingers on that. Any other materials that I really like here? Again, this is all, magnesium alloy. It feels exactly like the camera body of my A7R2 or A7S. Actually, A7R2. It feels very similar. And it's all one piece. As you can look close and there's no separation. It's all one big piece. So I really love that design. Another complaint I have, and this goes for all gimbals, is that why didn't they put a stand on the bottom? Like a little tiny thing with little legs that you can just easily, you can easily just put the camera down on the ground and rest between takes. Instead, you're going to have to carry around this stand with you, and currently that's the only way you can set the stabilizer down. But overall, I honestly can't complain even about that, because the stand is extremely light. It folds up to a fairly decently small size. So when I'm shooting, let's say, a workout video with Rob Riches, I really want to be using the stabilizer, and what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to find a way to mount this stand on my back, so whenever we're in between takes, I can pull out the stand, put the stabilizer on the stand, and rest. I don't want, my back is very sensitive. There are a few points in my shoulder blades where I have knots and I have some issues, so holding a stabilizer for a really long time can really inflame muscles in your back. So you want to rest as much as you can. Don't hold up the stabilizer more than you have to. Always put it down when you have that option, because you want to be able to hold this as long as you can during shoots. You don't want to be setting this down during the take, otherwise you will miss out on the take. So that's a really important tip I have for you when using this kind of stabilizer. So please keep that in mind, because that can actually save you from losing work. It can save you from losing the shot. All right? So keep that in mind. Let's see if you guys have any questions for me. Let me pull up the stream here. Please, now is your time to ask some questions. Yeah, so please ask me any questions. I would appreciate it. This gimbal is phenomenal, and it just has all the features you need to get the shot. When you're by yourself, it's perfect. When you have a crew, I would love to see an RC, a remote controller for this. I'm guessing I can go to any drone shop, and I'm sure the experts there know a lot about gimbals, because they need gimbals for FPV flight. So I'm sure they have an RC that plugs into here, and I can wirelessly control it. So maybe I'll go and inquire about that. Overall though, when you're using it by yourself, which I will be, rarely do I work in a crew, I am not going to be complaining, because this joystick is a remote controller, which is also very sensitive, powered by Bluetooth. Unlike the Ronin, this thing is wireless, so I can step back maybe 50 feet and still have this thing controlled. This gimbal also comes with a tripod mount, and let me show you what that looks like. We have a tripod mount here, and you can mount this onto any tripod, any drone you wish, and use that as a drone gimbal or a tripod gimbal or a slider gimbal. Later this week, hopefully I will have a update on my Polish time-lapse slider. It's going to have motors as well, pan, tilt, and pan, tilt, and slide motors. So it's going to be similar. It's going to be similar motors, I think, as the Cane TV Argo. And what it's going to have a computer module on the side here, where I'll be able to program all of my movements, and you will be able to see beautiful time-lapse shots with that slider. So here are some nice little close-ups here. Let me take off my phone from this GorillaPod, and let's show you some close-ups here. You can see the wiring. Guys, we're in this time of technology right now. We're in the era where technology is indistinguishable from magic. I would have never thought in my wildest dreams that something like this could exist. I am actually releasing a demo, some demo footage on Wednesday using this. I was shooting a friend of mine who was playing guitar, and we wanted to shoot an acoustic song. So we recorded him, and I used this, and the footage came out so buttery smooth. It looked absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to have another demo of the Cane TV Argo with multiple different shooting scenarios, going upstairs, downstairs, being in the car. So I'm still working on collecting footage for that, and that will be another really interesting thing to see, and how can the Cane Argo handle all of that, which I'm sure it can easily. The load weight on this is exactly like the Ronin, 8 pounds. Their website says 6.5 pounds or 6.6 pounds, but the manual states 8 pounds. So I'm going to go with whatever the manual tells me. These are similar motors to the DJI Ronin M, so yes, it can load the same weight. It's quieter. than the Ronin M, has more features than the Ronin M. In my opinion, it seems like it's more customizable than the Ronin M, because you can actually create your own profiles. It has that wireless transmitter. It has the follow focus rod and mounting area there. It also has this accessory mount here, which I love because I like to put my phone up there and use that as a monitor at times. We also have double the battery life compared to the Ronin M. We have a wireless joystick, while the Ronin M doesn't have a joystick, but it does have the remote controller. So you do have to purchase the joystick from DJI if you're gonna buy the Ronin M, and the joystick, in my opinion, is a necessity when you're working with this kind of tool, because you are going to want to point the camera in a direction that you are not standing in, and it's kind of hard to make that movement yourself by panning. So you want to, by manually panning, you want to use the joystick for that. So I'm happy they included that in this system. And everything is just buttery smooth. I mean, just like turning it with the power off, the bearings are just so smooth. It's honestly a joy just to look at because it looks so well crafted. It's literally a work of art. If you take a look at technology nowadays, I honestly, when I see people doing what is it called, torture tests on iPhones and computers and drones especially, it really hurts to see that happening to equipment, because I know you might not see it like I do, but I look at the stuff like works of art. There was a creator that sketched this out. He or she created a blueprint. They took the time to engineer this. This is their baby. This is their work of art. This was a dream. This was in somebody's head at one point, and they made it a reality. So to see torture tests, it just really hurts me to watch something like that, because believe it or not, this is a work of art. This is a work of art. Even though I understand why people love to watch torture tests just to see how reliable gear is, it's still hard for me to watch. And but sometimes you do have to watch it to see how reliable gear can be. But yeah, that's the Came TV Argo. If you have any questions, let me know. Why this over the Ronin M? Alex, thank you for that question. I don't know how long you've been tuned in for this live cast, but I'll tell you right now. This is not a ripoff of the Ronin M. It's actually an improvement on the Ronin M. You have wireless transmitter on the bottom here. The Ronin M doesn't have that. Follow focus with the rod, something that the Ronin M doesn't have. This all comes stock, by the way. You have a wireless joystick, something that the Ronin M doesn't have. You have a adapter mount for any accessories, also something the Ronin M doesn't have. You have double the battery life. Again, you know, that's something the Ronin M doesn't have. You have these fine-tune adjustment knobs at the bottom. Again, something that the Ronin M does not have. You also can shoot in inverted mode with the camera upright, which the Ronin M cannot do. You also can customize profiles in software. You can add profiles, something that the Ronin M cannot do. You can change settings, but it doesn't look like you can actually add profiles. So, you know, those are pretty big deal breakers if you ask me. But they definitely looked at the Ronin M when designing this, because they took a lot of similar design features and incorporated into this, but they've made it even better. You also have better wiring, shorter cables here so they don't snag onto anything. I mean, can you add on to the Ronin? I haven't been watching that long, so I apologize if you said this before. Can you add this onto the Ronin? Can you add what onto the Ronin? You can definitely add on the follow focus, and you can definitely add on the accessory plate. But this already comes installed onto the Came TV. The Ronin M doesn't have any of that. You have to buy that separately. The wireless transmitter, however, I am not sure if you can install that onto the Ronin M. At least not at the bottom here. you can probably install it somewhere else on the stabilizer, or you can replace what is already on the Ronin M with a wireless transmitter. So you have a few options there, but the fact that this already comes built in is a huge plus for me. And the battery life, oh, the battery life is just fantastic. 15 hours. And this is a non-proprietary battery. Non-proprietary battery. You can buy Samsung batteries and just put them in here and use it like that. Unlike DJI, where you have to buy their proprietary batteries. Yes, the Ronin M does come with a full remote controller. However, it does not come with a joystick like this one. The joystick is a necessity. It's actually a bigger necessity than the remote controller, because most of the time you're probably going to end up filming on your own if you're a freelance filmmaker, and you will need to have a joystick with you. You also have an adapter plate that comes with the Cane TV. This is something that the Ronin M does not come with, and you can install this on a drone and on a tripod or on a slider. So there's a lot of advantages on this system compared to the Ronin M. And on top of that, this system is a lot quieter. I've seen the Ronin M, I've played around with it, I've seen videos on it, and I hear the motors. On this thing, the motors are a lot quieter. Each motor has its own 32-bit encoder, which is, it's great. It really is great. However, as I said earlier in this live stream, if you mess with the settings in the software, you can easily mess up the gimbal to the point where it's malfunctioning like crazy, which is what happened to me. But I was able to fix my parameters and get this thing back to working perfectly as it should. So yeah, there are massive amounts of advantages. And plus, one of the biggest advantages, it comes with its own case, by the way. This is a $300 case, $200 to $300 case, waterproof case. Something that also doesn't come with the Ronin M. And it's very well protected. My only complaint is that the foam might be a little too soft at times, but the case itself is fantastic. The shell is fantastic quality. So yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, so the Ronin M, honestly, with all the attachments that this already has, it's going to be more expensive and still with less features. The inverted upright mode is honestly one of the biggest deal breakers for me, because I don't like to look at things upside down. I want to be able to look at things right side up, and you know, Cane TV solved that issue. And the fact that you don't have to power off the gimbal to go into inverted mode is another big plus compared to other gimbals where you have to shut it off and start it up again in inverted mode. And the fine-tune adjustment knobs are another big, huge advantage. To balance this thing, honestly, to change out cameras or change out lenses, it takes me around 3 minutes to rebalance. But I need to have the stand. I can't balance this without the stand. So balancing this thing is pretty easy. It takes me about 3 minutes when I'm in a setting like on my table here. I haven't used this out shooting yet. I just got this about a couple days ago. So I will have a shoot later on this week where I'll be using this live in the field, and I will update you on how long it takes me to set up. So on this table, when I'm calm, you know, collected, have my thoughts in order, I can balance this thing in 3 minutes easy. So I time myself with my iPhone. So 3 minutes, I can have a new camera or a new lens on here. And it comes with a lens support bracket as well. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. And I know that a lot of you are going to be thinking about buying something like this. This is new technology. It's fantastic technology, and the footage is amazing. Stay tuned for the demo reels that will be coming out with using the Cane TV. I'll be releasing those. I'll be releasing one on Wednesday, and I'm sure I'm going to have another one for you ready next week. Can you do something on Z-axis stabilizers for gimbals? Yeah, I don't have a Z-axis. I don't think I'll need one because that's just going to make the system too heavy. I can actually make my arms perform as well as a Z-axis. This is all done with a technique that I learned through trial and error. Your arms can work like a Z-axis. You just have to know how to position your arms. So a Z-axis, even though I think it's fantastic, it just makes the system too bulky, too big, and too heavy. Something I'm not that interested in. I need to be mobile. I need to be, I can't be traveling with all this equipment all the time. I need to be minimalistic as much as I can. All right, well, thank you so much for watching this live stream. If you have any questions, please remember to comment below. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Give this a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Also, you can check out my website at capturethemomentum.com. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.